As promised, guys, the NC750X DCT from 2025. Let's go over all the changes quickly before we start the test ride. So, the changes on the appearance, of course, the aesthetics. We have new body panels, new bodywork, twin disc brakes and twin calipers up front right now instead of the older, just the one that we used to get. The different colorways, of course. I have to say, this red does look really nice in person. This lovely TFT screen, which looks really nice. The LCD that we got is outdated, so this is definitely an upgrade. Other than that, it's your same typical NC. These are optional, by the way, these handguards. This windscreen is adjustable, but there is a small problem with it. Well, not a problem. You have to use both your hands to adjust it. So you cannot adjust this on the fly. You have to step aside on your bike and adjust it that way, since this bike has no cruise control. Other than that, the suspension is the same. These are the same Showa front forks with no adjustability there whatsoever. The rear shock is still the same rear shock, which has adjustable preload that you can adjust with a spanner. But other than that, oh yeah, right, the wheels. They have changed the wheels. These are actually lighter wheels. They are supposed to be 3 kilograms lighter than the older model, so I'm wondering if that changes anything in the way that this bike handles. And they should have made an update on the DCT, not in power or whatever, but they have changed the DCT so that it's supposed to be smoother at lower gears, lower revs. So we're definitely going to test that out as well. This frunk is still 23 liters like the old one, but this one is supposed to be a bit different, but to be fair, I'm not really seeing the difference. But yeah, that might just be me. The first things that I feel that are different on this DCT compared to the older version is that when the engine is cold and you take off, the changes in gear from like first to second can feel a bit lungy at times. It's nothing like dangerous, but when you click it from not when you click it, when the DCT changes it from first to second gear, it has this little jump, and on this generation it just feels like they have actually managed to make it smoother. It doesn't do that anymore. On the older generation, that went away as well, like that little lunge. It does go away, but the engine had to warm up a bit. If you watched my other video, I talked about that physical clunk that you can hear. This one doesn't have it. The DCT is smoother on this one. It is definitely upgraded. One more update about this DCT, now that I'm riding it a bit longer and doing other speeds and all, going through the gears. It is not just in the lower gears that it feels more smooth. Even in the higher gears, the gear changes are seamless now. Let's talk about this TFT screen. I mean, no, I don't think anyone will argue with me that this TFT screen is looking very nice. It's modern, it's up to date. There are also improved controls on this motorcycle. It feels a bit more, how should I say it? Just up to date, not more luxurious or whatever. Now, the next thing that we're gonna discuss is this windshield that they put on here, right? Right now it is set up, this is an option by the way, you do not get this standard with the bike, you have to buy this as an option. It is set up on the highest setting, and I am 6'1", it's not enough for me. The wind buffeting is not what it should be like, so I would still have to put an aftermarket screen on here. It is better than the first generation for sure, because that used to have a non-adjustable windscreen, and it was way smaller. It came in up until here, I think, until here I believe. That was actually like just more for aesthetics. It really did nothing in terms of wind buffeting. So this is definitely an upgrade, if you choose to buy it, of course, that is. I do not know the price of this as well, so. The next thing that I already briefly touched upon are these brakes. You just need the tiniest bit of brake pressure with one finger, and it is responsive. On the older model, you do have to give it like a bigger squeeze, for sure. It feels more wooden, it feels more spongy. The response is definitely not as immediate as you have it here. Does that make the older NC a dangerous or a bad motorcycle? No, not at all. But this newer model, these improvements on the brakes, they are definitely noticeable. Now, other than that, the NC is still the NC. It rides exactly the same. Nothing has inherently changed. My seating position does feel a bit different, but that is just because I have put aftermarket pegs on my NC. So, other than the things that I have already talked about, it is still the same motorcycle. It still has the same amount of power. Nothing has changed there. It feels exactly the same. It handles the same. That's actually the whole thing about this new NC. It's the same freaking bike, but it's a little bit better in some ways. Okay, so jumping back on the old trusty NC. Would I recommend buying the new one? No, I would actually not. The DCT changes, they are noticeable. Now, I did test out all the rider modes and they are exactly the same. There is no difference right there. The newer NC does feel a bit smoother in the gear changes. This one at times is a bit, I'm not gonna say clunky because it doesn't deserve that word. It's just a little bit more noticeable, right? But honestly, if you jump onto this NC and you have no knowledge of anything else, this NC feels just as fine. This LCD is definitely looking more outdated than the TFT. But then the question pops into my head, do you need a TFT screen or is this LCD just fine? And my answer to that is that this LCD is just fine. It gives you everything you need to know, the same information. You don't need a fancy TFT screen. Sure, the newer one has like this phone connectivity thing, but do you really need that? I don't think so. This is just fine. Onto the buttons on your handlebars, right? The newer ones look a bit more fancy, sure, but these feel and look just as premium. It's not like it's a night and day difference. If you like that flashy TFT screen, and if you like a bit more instant lever feel, sure, I think the newer one is better. But for me personally, I don't care about the screen. I don't care about the lever feel. I care about the actual braking power, which honestly I've been doing a couple of these like full front brake grabs right now on both the models. And the feel of the braking itself, it's the same. I'm not going to say that it's exactly the same, right? Because I know that they have 2 discs and this has 1, but this is a bigger disc. The lever feel, that's a whole other story. That is an insane difference on the new generation versus this one. But once you actually start applying more and more brake pressure, that difference just dissipates. The DCT, yeah, sure, it's a bit more smooth on the new version, but this one is just as good. Now, if this would have cruise control and a bit more upgraded suspension, now that is when it would get tricky for me even. That's when I probably would say, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna take this new version. If they would tell me, listen, for free, it costs you nothing. You can upgrade your NC to the newer NC with all the same modifications that you have, I would take it only because it is free. That is probably the only reason why I would choose the newer NC, is that they would just give it to me. But if that wasn't the case, no, I go for this one. I go for this one. That is all you need to know, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.